After using my Mercedes C-Class plug-in hybrid as my daily driver for 3 whole years, it was time to return the car back to Mercedes and welcome the new replacement new edition. This is a video to introduce that car, a 2010 Renault Megane RS250 Cup. It's Rich here with another fast and fun video. So when I started looking for the replacement daily car, I drew out my key criteria. I particularly wanted 4-door because I wanted flexibility to get multiple passengers in the car. Preference was for an estate to give me that flexibility if I needed to take dogs as well, anywhere, and preferred German. Build quality, I think, and my preference was probably a BMW 5 Series. That's what I was aiming towards. And then I got the phone call. The phone call that I remember now that was from a good friend of mine, that the owner of this Megane, that had lent it to me back in the summer of last year. When I had it for the day, did a video on that, and it absolutely blew me away. The video is up there. I'll put a link to it. And originally I said, no, don't want it, it's just not suitable for daily. He convinced me, yes, it absolutely is. And then we had the debate about whether I could daily with it or not. And then he came back with the price, and it was a price really that I just couldn't say no to. So then I had to go through the next phase of actually convincing myself that everything that I wanted, I didn't really need. 4 doors, I didn't really need 4 doors, I needed somewhere to sit 4 adults, and I convinced myself that Megane, you can do that. I convinced myself that you don't need an estate, a hatchback will do, albeit I can't really get dogs into the Megane. And regarding build quality around the Germans, well, so be it. It's got full service history, it's fully documented. I'll just look after it, and just let's hope that French reliability's moved on a generation since the sort of 80s and 90s, where it was all a bit flaky and a bit dodgy. So I convinced myself, then I had to convince the other half as well that it was the right thing to do. And one of the main concerns I had with buying the older BMW 5 Series was specifically around the car was going to be 15 or so or more years old, and therefore you're always a little bit nervous about using a car of that age as a daily, because you certainly need reliability as a daily car has got to be really, really important. And for me, the Megane 250s have reached that age that they're 10 years old now, so the most of the depreciation has occurred in that first 10 years, but they're still new enough to still have a high degree of reliability built in, just hoping that the French build standards are better than they were from the sort of 80s and 90s. And what great value Megane RS 250s and 265s present now, because these cars start from as little as sort of 5 or 6k for their high mileage cars, and this incidentally has got over 110,000 miles on the clock. But they've really reached a sweet spot now that I don't expect to see much depreciation now in the coming years with these cars. And the added benefit of a Megane Sport as well is that not only I'm going to try to use this as my everyday daily car, but I also want to use it as a track car. And that, I think the Megane plays a really, really good card here. The other consideration that I had to think of when I got and bought the Megane was that I wanted it to complement the rest of the other cars that in my garage, and that's why it's front wheel drive, so it adds something that the sort of the three convertibles all being rear wheel drive, so it adds that element of front wheel drive that matches the Clio 182 quite nicely. But where the Clio 182's power's all delivered top end through BHP and power, the Megane delivers its power very differently. It's all about mid-range turbocharged torque, and actually both these cars, both the 182 and the Megane, really deliver their power in very, very different ways, to such a degree. If I've been driving the Clio and actually I've started driving the Megane, I actually quite often run into the limiter in the Megane because I'm just expecting the car to pull higher in the revs, and actually the rev limiter's only just a little over 6,000 RPM. So one thing that the Megane is going to be used for is as not only as my daily but as my track car. So I've not done a track day for a couple of years, and I'm going to take the Megane, and the one thing I'm going to do is, on YouTube there's lots of videos about track cars, and they tend to be quite heavily modified. Normally one of the first changes you do is brakes, because road brakes are normally poor when it comes to track use because of the heavy amount of braking you're going to do on track. But what I've decided to do is, do you know what, I'm going to actually, first track day is I'm going to take the Megane 250 Cup and use it as it is, straight out of the box, road spec, no modifications at all, to see how it handles. Most people will know that have watched some of my videos, I generally like to keep my car standard. However, with the Megane it may be slightly different, because if I do find that actually it's great on track, but it does need a few tweaks and modifications in places, aka braking, disc pads, brake lines, fluid, etc., then there may be some subtle mods that I do so I can get more out of the track days that I plan to do in it. That track day is booked, first one in about just over a month's time, up in Anglesey in the northwest of Wales, going up with a bunch of friends there in various different sort of sports and performance type of cars. So that should be a really good day, and actually that will make a great video on our journey up there and the track day itself. So one of the final points with the Megane is when I did pick it up, I did say really good price I bought the car for, but it did need quite a bit of TLC. I spent several days on the paint trying to correct a lot of the paint, very poor condition. The alloy wheels here, you'll see now have been refurbished into all black alloys, from the badly curbed diamond cut 19-inch alloys that the car came with. And in a later video I'll tell you about all the stuff that I've done in these early weeks of owning the Megane. Well, really look forward to this year, really getting to know the Megane, answering the question, can you daily a Megane in family life? How is it seating 3 or 4 people in it? Going to the supermarket and then popping to your local track day. Can it do it all? Well, we'll find out, and I'll know a bit better in a few months' time. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give me the thumbs up. Please subscribe and stay tuned, because there'll be another video coming up very, very soon.